If they improve with a little bit of speed, they're the Champions League favourites for me next season. They're just a class above everybody else and the most entertaining team to watch in world football right now. It's brilliant.
Here's the table. We'll start down towards the bottom. So it's Valladolid who are already relegated. They're gone. Leganés and Las Palmas, who are currently inside the bottom three. Alaves just got a narrow 1-point lead over Leganés to keep them clear of the relegation zone, and a big step forward, as we said, for Barcelona in terms of chasing the title right at the top. They are 7 points clear of Real Madrid, their great rivals, as they try to win La Liga this season and make up, really, I suppose, for the disappointment of what happened against Inter Milan in the Champions League. Let's have a look at the scenarios. So this is how Barcelona can clinch the title in the coming days. It is either with Real Madrid draw or a loss against Mallorca, so they could do it on Wednesday, May the 14th. If that doesn't happen, then if they beat Espanyol the following day, so Thursday, May the 15th, they would clinch the title themselves, regardless of what Real Madrid does. Let's talk about the game itself. I think something that we really noticed here, and we've seen this throughout the season, that Barcelona just seem, and perhaps it's just down to Hansi Flick, but also the belief that he's instilled in the players as kind of the comeback kings. They never know when they're beaten, do they?
Yeah, so many times this Barcelona team has come back. I think you do have to admire the mentality of this group of players, and also with how many young players are in the starting 11, how many young players are in the squad coming off the bench to have an impact. It's very difficult to argue with this statement that FC Barcelona are the most entertaining team in world football, full stop. I don't care what anyone says. They might be knocked out of the Champions League, but Barcelona just bring it. This is why we love the game, right? We want to be entertained because of the goal factor. We want to see as many opportunities created as possible. We want to see as many goals scored as possible. The fact that they are weak and vulnerable and play a high line and are a bit suspect defensively, many people are starting to criticise that with Hansi Flick because it essentially cost him in the Champions League. But in La Liga, and what we're witnessing domestically, he's come into a football club, Hansi Flick, and he has stuck to his tactics. And one of his tactics are to be the most entertaining team in world football. They play such a pleasing on the eye style of football, and with the weapons they have at their disposal, minus the big man, right? No Lewandowski in this game. You've got Lamine and you've got Rafinha absolutely cooking out wide. You've got Ferran Torres working his socks off, creating opportunities, even though he didn't get his opportunity to score in front of goal. They're so dangerous. They're so dynamic. It's just beautiful to watch. And I'm actually sick and tired of people saying high line, back line. Clearly Hansi Flick doesn't care what people think. He's going to stick to his guns and play this way. But there is a vulnerability there, and Real Madrid obviously took advantage of that to get themselves 3 goals. How do you score a hat-trick and not win the game? That's the big question.
Well, that's exactly the point I was going to make, is that Kylian Mbappé scored a hat-trick. Real Madrid started the game brilliantly, and Barcelona still had that inner belief to be able to think, don't worry, guys, we're going to win this game. And I think part of it, you touched on the youth there. They haven't really been burned enough times, a lot of these players in their team.
Yeah.
You do build up some scar tissue, don't you? I mean, I'm sure you in your career, the more and more hard, difficult defeats you have, that becomes difficult for you to then you can go to the well and be able to psychologically get through that later on in your career. But some of these players are so young, they don't even know any better. But the big thing for me is the fact that they almost don't mind if Kylian Mbappé scores a hat-trick. You come at us, we're going to score more goals than you.
They do not care. Let's take El Clásico, for example, what Hansi Flick has done in El Clásico. And by the way, he's won all 4 of his El Clásico games, his first 4 El Clásico games. But he's also managed to have 16 goals scored from his team in El Clásico games. In 4 games. I mean, it's remarkable what he's getting out of these players. Okay, Chesney was an unusual one. Ter Stegen's back, but Chesney in goal after obviously having his retirement, coming out of retirement to help this Barcelona side. It's been massive because he's been forced to play a sweeper-keeper sort of style of football because of that backline. But the offensive side of the game, from Pedri to De Jong, who I thought were absolutely exquisite today. Once again, controlling the game. Once again, their passing, their ability in behind, the way they played the game was brilliant. I think Pedri's one of the most underrated footballers in world football. And then De Jong is a perfect example of someone you can put next to him to create such great chemistry that puts it so pleasing on the eye. Almost getting back to his best form. But what we're seeing from Lamine Yamal and Rafinha is something different. This is unusual. Rafinha, I didn't know could reach this type of a level. He has gone to the world class. category as far as I'm concerned. He's getting very, very close to being that Ballon d'Or winner this year. I know they're not in the Champions League, and maybe that will work against him with the Ballon d'Or race, but he's absolutely up there for the goals that he's been scoring this season. But I'm absolutely loving what Hansi Flick has done. Obviously, the 16 goals in El Clásico games is vital. The way they've been scoring goals, 95 goals now in La Liga, looks like they're going to absolutely clean up domestically. They are making Real Madrid fans become Barcelona fans because of how good they are to watch play football. This is how good Hansi Flick is, though. He manages to get the best out of young players. He still gets the best out of the old experienced players. Lewandowski, of course, I know De Jong's not an older player, but I still put him into a category of an experienced player. And you bring in a Chesney who still pulls off remarkable saves. You add that all together, it's not easy to get the performance he's getting. For me, Hansi Flick is the key.
On this man, Hansi Flick, how impressive was it as well, given the circumstances of what happened in midweek, to pick himself and his players up from such a disappointing way of going out in the Champions League? Obviously, it was great for the neutral. We enjoyed watching it. We loved watching it. I'm sure they enjoyed, in some ways, being part of it. But to be able to, a few days later, go up against Real Madrid, concede goals early, and still find a way to win, that shows tremendous psychological strength from the players, but also from the manager.
Psychological, mentally, also physically, right? Because you've gone through extra time as well. And to be able to have the physical ability to still take it to a team like Real Madrid in the way that they did do, it's really astounding to watch. This team is something else. They're on another level. I don't care what anyone says. You can come at me about Real Madrid, and I have critiqued Real Madrid. I actually enjoyed watching Real Madrid in the early part of the season, but they lost their way. And you cannot sit here and say that Real Madrid have put a good season out. They've been miles off of it. And Barcelona have taken their game to the next level, where at one point I thought Barcelona lost their way around that November period where they were losing games and allowing teams to obviously score goals. There we saw the vulnerability. I mean, if you go through the last 7 games, Barcelona still conceded, I think, 16 goals, but they lost only one of those games. That mentality, that power, that strength, that ability to get back in games, it really is precious. And plus, not many of these players are taking a break, right? Lewandowski's been the one who's been out injured. But they have made Real Madrid look like absolute mugs this season. They have made La Liga look easy this campaign for the way that they're scoring goals. Now, there is room for improvement. Of course, we've got to go there. It's a high back line that Real Madrid, once again, made them look a little bit silly. But for Real Madrid to score 3 goals away from home, Kylian Mbappé to score a hat-trick, it's ridiculous that they didn't get anything from this game.
On Mbappé, how do you think he feels post-match? Because time and again this season, he's produced. I mean, you look at the numbers, I think he's only 1 behind Lewandowski in terms of chasing the Golden Boot in Spanish football. He's had, objectively, a brilliant season. I think if you'd offered him this when he signed for Real Madrid as a first season, he'd have taken it, wouldn't he? But time and again, he's on the losing side. Yeah,
but he's leading the way now for Pichichi, right? Because of this break that Lewandowski's got. So he's got the opportunity of winning something this season. And I'm not counting any of these other trophies that they're competing with Real Madrid that they've won. Forget about it. We're talking major trophies. Real Madrid is an institution that needs to win trophies. Kylian Mbappe's come into the football club and scored goals. 38 goals is unbelievable. It's ridiculous what he's done in La Liga itself. And he might win Pichichi. However, for Real Madrid, if you look at them in a big hole, they have failed this season. Every single player. And I know there's been a ton of injuries, especially along that back line. But Real Madrid have absolutely failed. Every single one of those players, and I'm even going to throw Kylian Mbappé into this category.
So what you're saying basically is Mbappé doesn't really care how he does individually, it's about the team.
Exactly. Well, why did he go to Real Madrid, right? He went to Real Madrid to win a Champions League title, to win a title domestically, clean up domestically, and he didn't do that this season. He scored the goals to get them there, but there's still room for improvement from his own game. However, I think every player at Real Madrid has underperformed this season. And when you look at what Barcelona have done, obviously Hansi Flick has got the best out of his players. It's a class above. Barcelona continues to get better and better. There's no doubt in my mind they don't have a lot of money to spend on the transfer market, so they're going to have to be smart financially. But if they improve with a little speed along that backline, because Hansi's going to stick to these tactics, if they improve with a little bit of speed, they're the Champions League favourites for me next season. They're just a class above everybody else and the most entertaining team to watch in world football right now. It's brilliant.
What a game. To be fair, both teams need to improve defensively.